share today. As you can see, my name is Christina Smith. I'm the author of this book, Joseph's Journey. And the book is about how to have a difficult conversation with your child if their father is absent, but not in a way that is demeaning, but empowering, using the power of choice and teaching about personal responsibility, because we all have free will and we can all choose our own choices and choose our own thoughts. Okay, so I'm going to have does anybody have any questions for me? Maybe about the publishing process? What was my inspiration for writing the story, even though that may be obvious? No questions? Yes.
How was it when you decided to write the book? I guess the question could be for Joseph. When you decided to write the book, how did he feel about that? And you sharing the book with others, with it being his personal story?
Okay. Well, he was actually very young, so he was still kind of oblivious to a lot of stuff. He didn't know. I shared with him that Mommy was going through a process. I would show him what I was doing on the screen. I made a book trailer, and I said, Mommy, Mommy's going to write a story about this and share it. But basically what happened when he was about 3.5 going on in 4, his father stopped coming, and it just came to a complete halt. And I used to have his father's picture on the wall. And I was so disgusted when we just stopped coming. I took the picture off the wall and put it somewhere. And then I came back one day, and then I see the picture tacked up on the wall, but it said it's way down here because it's for a little bitty person. And I said, oh my gosh, Joseph is thinking about this. He's thinking about his dad. So at that point, I said, I'm going to have to talk about this because I was trying to avoid it like the plague. And I said, I'm going to have to talk about this. So it actually took me maybe about a year or so, because I was so disgusted. I did not want to ruin my child. I knew I wanted to talk to him about it. I went to the library because I love to read. And that was the first place I was running to the library, like, let me look and see if there's a book about this. There's got to be a book about this. And there was no book about this. And so I knew that I had to do it. But first, I had to get to a place to where I felt like it. Because the verbiage in the book is very, compassionate, and I didn't feel that way at first. I was like, so I said, has anybody ever heard of Marianne Williamson? She's pretty popular. Dr. Wayne Dyer.
Yes.
Okay. Louise Hay, she's considered the grandmother of affirmations. Okay, I had to read some of their books. I had to read a whole bunch of their books, Deepak Chopra, all of them. Okay, to get to a place to where I felt like this could be genuine. And then the words from the book flowed. And there's some moments, because he was young. Now, he really didn't, you know how you know your child, and intuitively, even though he couldn't verbalize it exactly like this, I knew that's what he was thinking. Why? So like I said, he was 4, and I felt like this was his language at about 7. So then the book came out, and the part about the snack, a lot of that, I asked him, what would you do if a bully came and did this? And so it was kind of the same thing. I wanted to see what he would say, and he said, I don't know. So that's the long version, but he's really happy. Now that he's older, he appreciates that the story is out, and he understands that it's going to help a lot of children, so he's happy about it. That was a very long answer, wasn't it? Like, okay, all right, thanks, TMI. All right, does anybody else have any other questions? Especially about the publishing process. I know that maybe some people might be thinking about that.
Well, tell us about it, because I don't know anything about the publishing process.
Okay, well, I'll try to make this brief. I self-published, okay, and I'm sure everybody's heard of Amazon, right? Yeah. And they have a publishing arm called Create Space, and I published the first edition of Joseph's Journey on Create Space. And so that was pretty easy. But there's lots of things to consider when you're self-publishing, because you're doing a lot of it yourself. The design, I did everything myself. The design of the book, obviously the writing, what pictures to choose. You have to choose an illustrator, and you have to get really creative. So unless you're made of money, which I'm not, but unless you're made of money, there's lots of financial things to consider before you put your book out there. Book design, book cover, illustrator, marketing, and the list goes on.
Wow.
So Create Space is one of those things, but I did everything myself, except, illustrate. But everything else I did myself. I created my own book trailer too. I learned a lot. Yes, I did.
So, how did Bingsy come into the picture? When and how?
Okay, so on my journey to just trying to be a good role model for Joseph, and on this like self-healing thing, helping Joseph on his journey to feel good about himself, just continue with the self-esteem journey. There's this book called Bingsy, Building Self-Esteem, and I introduced it to Joseph. So it has, the book is upstairs if you guys go see, but it's about using affirmations, positive affirmations for young kids, pre-K through 2nd grade, to help them build up their self-esteem. So it talks about, I am healthy, I'm strong, I'm loving, and kids need to hear that. Because I know, as a mother, and I'm sure other mothers in the room can agree, when they're messing up, we're going to tell them. But we also need to tell them when they're doing really good too. And so Bingsy's really good for that. Yes. Yes. So, does anybody else have any questions? No. Well, I appreciate you guys all coming.
Are you going to write another book?
Yes. I actually have another book in the works. It's going to be it has something to do with the alphabet. And for every letter of the alphabet, instead of saying A is for apple, A will be for abundance and appreciation. So things like that. So the ABCs of social and emotional intelligence. Because I think once they're learning how to read, if they learn some of these words now, they can apply it, like G is for grateful. So things like that. Yeah, that's my next one. I'm really excited about that. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing.
Yes, thank you.
Okay, well, I'm done. I'm complete.